Hi, my name is Róża. This is my channel Możliwe. Today my guest is Sara Koślińska, CEO Limitless, fintech startup providing a micro-invest app to financial institutions willing to engage millennials. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Sarah, where did you get the idea for create Limitless from?
So actually it wasn't my idea, it was my co-founder's idea. And we met a couple of years ago when he was 50, I was 25. So he had almost 30 years of experience in working in financial industry, but his experience was mostly from the corporate world. And then we were introduced by a common friend who is an angel investor, who, by the way, is a lady who used to run a business in Poland. And after we met, he pitched his idea, and I thought that I would myself use such product. So after 15 minutes or so, I said, okay, I know how to build it. I think it's gonna work. I would be the user myself. Let's do that.
Okay, so what was living in Poland was the best decision? Yeah.
I would say that getting experience, life experience and work experience from outside of Poland has benefited me a lot. Getting network from, the Europe and the Middle East and Asia, and having the chance to live in multiple places and getting to know different business cultures and mindsets and innovations. That was a great investment of my time and money into my professional development. So I'm sure that I wouldn't be where I'm now if I didn't get to see and experience the world outside of Poland.
Mm-hmm. How we can use the Limitless and how can it change our lives?
So we started with Limitless. So we started Limitless with an idea of giving users in their 20s and 30s an easy tool that would make them start investing, because the common perception is that investing is complicated and it requires a lot of money and you need to spend time on it. And for most people, it's just confusing. I remember myself when I wanted to start investing and I went to my bank in Poland. I just left after like 40 minutes of meeting, having no clue what product I should choose. So we wanted to give young users who have no experience with investing a tool that would make it super easy for them to start and continue investing. So how it works is that our algorithm analyzes transactional data from users' accounts, and on the basis of that, it understands what amount can be moved from the current account of the user into his or hers saving and investment account. And we're not giving many choices when it comes to investments, just going preferably for a portfolio of low-cost funds, because we know that the more questions you ask the user, the more decisions you ask him or her to make, the more confusing it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, we started focusing a bit more on the overall financial well-being. So not only savings and investments, but also how people think about money, what decisions they make, what habits they have, whether they save money for larger purchases that they make every year, and so on and so forth.
Your target group are millennials. What is the difference between them and other generation?
So we wanted to focus on the youngest users. So initially we started with millennials. Now we're also looking at Generation Z, because my co-founder understands that that there is a huge difference in whether you start investing money in your 20s or in your 40s. So like when you're young, you can still afford to lose money, yeah, and you have a long time to experience the market going up and down. You can take more risk, you can get higher returns, and that's something that majority of people start thinking about only, you know, when they are coming closer to the retirement.
Mm-hmm. What was the biggest obstacle you had to overcome to develop your startup?
So for sure, the hardest part in what we're doing is negotiating with banks, getting banks engaged, getting them interested, because even though they understand that that the product is beneficial for their clients, it doesn't necessarily help them to achieve returns in like the next quarter or two. And banks have very short-term perspective. That's our experience with the majority of banks. So the decisions that are being made are not necessarily the decisions that benefit the client of the bank, but these are the decisions that just increase the sales in the short term.
Mm-hmm.
So banks are much more focused on the customers who are bringing them at the moment most money, rather than just inviting user to start their financial journey with the bank. And we oftentimes heard ridiculous things like, for example, millennials don't have money, and millennials are the people who are now in their late 20s and 30s. So like, how can you exclude such a huge group of clients, right?
Yes.
So definitely talking to banks that tend to be conservative and short-term focused is the toughest part.
Mm-hmm. Are being the youngest woman under 30 on the Forbes cover changing something in your life?
You know what? Actually, because I work a lot, and I always think about bigger and bigger goals to reach. I usually, whenever I win something, I'm just like, okay, good. Let's go to the next one now. But I must tell you that when it comes to the to being on the cover of Forbes, that was the moment when I like stopped for a moment and really appreciated it. And I thought, okay, now I think I can say I achieved some success.
What changed for you from impossible to possible after 4 years during of limitless on the marketplace?
Um, you know what? It's a hard question. Um, for sure, we managed to reach many of our goals, and we had an amazing growth, especially in the first 2 years of the company. And I think that I learned on the way as we were seeing opportunities coming to us, that that it is possible to start working with global companies. So not only international regional players, but also with global ones. So that was uh, my big goal. And now I cannot disclose too much, but now we signed an MOU with a global tech company. And we are now working on a press release and on a commercial deal. So I'll be very happy once that is published, and once we have something to show to the users. Um, So I guess that was the biggest things. Other than that, it also being interviewed by Financial Times in their London studio. Uh, that was also something that I'm gonna remember. So we had a video interview with the banker, and that's one of the titles of Financial Times. And I absolutely love the journalist, and I'm very happy that we got to experience that. So I guess, yes, working with international media and working with global clients, that's something that I'm proud of.
Like you said, you work and travel a lot. How do you organize your work?
So for the first 2 years of building Limitless, I was pretty much working nonstop. So mornings, evenings, weekends, there was pretty much no time off, and I I was just extremely effective. Now, when I look back at this that time, actually like asking myself how I managed to do so much. And it was funny when some people in Poland were telling me like, oh, why do you travel so much? Why do you go to all these conferences? Do you get anything out of it? And when you're hustling, you just need to, as our Dutch investors say, shake every tree, right? So you don't let go of any opportunity. You just grab whatever you can, and you're everywhere, and you meet everyone, and you listen and you pitch, and that's what I think that's what you need to do when you're growing a company. Now with the pandemics, I stopped traveling, obviously, um, but I must say that I also learned that you can accomplish a lot by working less. So that's a good. So that's my learning from the pandemics.
Mm-hmm.
That I actually don't need to work as much as before in order to achieve good results.
Okay. When I make an interview with Anna Strzeżyńska, she said that you are the best example of young woman succeed in male-dominated field. Are you feel like a woman of success?
So I'm extremely humbled that she said that, and I'm gonna definitely right after our interview, I'm gonna check out exactly what she said. Um, I I would say that I appreciate about myself that I'm persistent and that I'm confident and not afraid to just go there and talk to people, even if sometimes I get rejections. Um, and I heard that someone from like the more traditional business in Poland once said that, oh, this girl, she's like so American, like in like if there was something bad in like promoting yourself and being full of enthusiasm and so on. So I'm okay with being like too American. um, and of course I have much bigger goals, but I would say that I feel like I achieved some success so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I can be happy with myself.
Your company is worth $12 million. Do you considering about selling and looking for another challenge?
So yeah, we raised that 12 million euro valuation, and this is a pretty good valuation, even though it's lower than what comparable companies to ours are raising at in UK, in Western Europe. Um, I know that I will probably sell the company at some point. Um, and we had some opportunities already. But most likely it's not going to happen, sooner in 5 years. So, because even if you sell the shares, in most cases, you need to still stay with the company for another couple of years. And when that happens, I'm definitely gonna be working on some new business opportunities, and also I would love, if that will be possible, to either start investing in female founders as an angel or with a VC, or that would be one thing, and another would be to dedicate some of my time to work on social issues, because I feel like there's much to be done and much to be improved. So I would like to have impact on also on social matters in Poland, I guess, mostly.
Do you see a difference between a startup created by men and women?
It's hard to say, because most of my professional life I spent working for myself. I did work for 2 other companies. One was a startup, Israeli startup run by a guy, and I would say that it was surprisingly chill as for a startup environment. And then the other company, it wasn't really a startup, but it had this vibe, was Rocket Internet. So at Rocket, the atmosphere was like very aggressive, and I thought that that wasn't necessarily the best way to manage business. But I don't think I have big enough, I don't think I experienced enough in order to be able to say whether I see any difference between companies managed by guys or girls.
It's been a woman in fintech world difficult?
Oh, yes. It is because I'm surrounded with mostly with guys, and mostly with older guys, so in their 50s, let's say. And not that I have a problem with that, but unfortunately, many of them, are pretty traditional and have like a very corporate mindset. And also, unfortunately, often they are more interested in me than in what I'm trying to sell. I even had this conversation today with one of my friends. So it's not easy to work in fintech, and I know that many women actually leave the finance industry in their late 20s, when they realize after a couple of years of work that it's a pretty sexist environment.
Yes.
So I heard many of such stories, and it is sad. It's always sad when a potential of someone is being destroyed just because of their sex, right? Yes. So you're being treated differently just because you happen to be born a woman. That shouldn't be the case.
Yes. Did you have ever the moment when you want to give up?
There were some moments when I thought, wow, this is hard. Yes, I had moments when I wanted to give up. I think that when, you're not being treated respectfully, and it like happens time after time after time, and you hear men saying things that are really hard to imagine in a professional setting. Like, I got a CEO of a European bank to tell me that I could be a Playboy model if I don't succeed in finance, right? So that's very shocking. And even though I like to think that I have a thick skin, there are some limits.
What strength did you learn about yourself after 4 years BSCO Limitless?
What did I learn about myself?
Yes.
Actually, I think that I appreciated myself more than before. So I could see that we are achieving a lot with low resources, in little time, with small team. And I really appreciate what I managed to build. And I can see that big part of what we achieved is, thanks to my ability to motivate people and talk to people and convince. So I didn't think about all these qualities before, and now from the perspective of time, it really feels good.
And my last question, where did you see yourself for 5 years?
5 years. So in 5 years, I'm gonna be after exit, and I'm gonna be I will have graduated from Harvard, because I got accepted to Harvard starting next year, executive program. And thank you. And by then I'm gonna probably have much clearer idea of how I want to divide my time between business and social issues, social matters. So I'm very much looking forward to it. Yeah, there are so many things that I want to do. There are just not enough hours in a day to do all that.
Thank you, Sarah, for being my guest.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for watching my channel. Please subscribe my channel if you haven't already. Bye.